Astral Chain. When the trailer for this came out, it felt to me like nobody gave a flying f***. Probably because Link's Awakening was announced right after it, and that was actually what everybody got hyped about. But to me, it was so much hype. Because I didn't want to like play Nier for the 4th time. I just wanted something like it, but not that emotionally investing, I guess. And as if answering my prayers, this trailer came out. Come on, how can you not love it? I mean, there's this Kamen Rider transformation gadget sequence thing. There's the JoJo Stand Pet Labor dude. And through like these bits and pieces of dialogue you see in the trailer, you know this is another unnecessarily deep, plot twisty, existentialist kind of story we see in these Japanese titles that I absolutely love, by the way. No, seriously, a narrative like this one is always the bigger reason why I get these games in the first place. I can't get enough of that. I could care less if a plot is convoluted, if it's just gonna give me more entertainment later when I start trying to put all the pieces together. I mean, yeah, as long as the plot is good and engaging to the point where I want to do that. Well, I guess Xenogears ruined me. Now I want that in everything. But yeah, I don't think that kind of plot is necessarily popular here in the West. So the game has to be more than that to be successful here. This is where I think the gameplay from Platinum Games always shines. I mean, it looks really cool. It seems to reward creativity as you change between beating stuff up or setting up strategies to capture the bad guys later, being that you're able to foresee trap locations and such. And also the fact that there seems to be multiple different police persona-like thingies to change up and spice up the action, since yeah, repetitiveness can be a huge problem in these types of games. But hey, if that wasn't enough to convince you, there was this huge part in the trailer where they highlighted like 3 people's names responsible for creating the game. This was actually the part that got me excited the most. And while you might be familiar with them, I'd like to give you more information on them in case you're curious, or just in case you never knew about them. And share with me the hype! Alright, let's start with Katsura Sensei, which is probably my favorite because he's a, you know, manga artist. And I'm a, weeb thing. I love this guy, he's a legend. Winner of 2 Tezuka Awards, he created the popular manga Video Girl Ai, which is mentioned in the trailer, and honestly it made my 14-year-old puberty-going self to secretly wish hard every day of my life for the perfect wife to just leap out of my TV into my arms, which never came true. Don't judge me, we've all been there. In other notable works, Katsura-san was actually responsible for the original character design for Tiger and Bunny, which, come on, you can't help but love it. And since we're talking about the characters he made, I'm not gonna focus too much on stories he wrote. Just, I want to give 2 honorable mentions of ones that I absolutely love. The first being Karin Aoi from DNA Square, which was also a big hit with an anime adaptation to boot. Not to mention it has my favorite opening theme in an anime ever. She's like a secret agent from the future with a mission, and on that I love the 90s perspective of what her futuristic clothes should be. She only gets better as you look through the story because her looks, her style, everything about her is so much more interesting than any other character in the manga. It almost makes it seem like lazy writing because if you were Junta, like, why the heck would you pick any other girl? Plus she has blue hair. Blue hair! And the other work I wanted to talk about is Iria, Zeiram the Animation. It's a series of 6 OVAs that focus on this badass bounty hunter girl character. Where have I seen that before? It takes place a long time ago in a galaxy far away, and besides taking this obvious page out of Star Wars with the setting and the characters, having this strong-willed Boba Fett girl as the main character just made the OVA for me. Independent, very stubborn, never afraid to face danger or go to settle the score. I love her armor, equipment, to me they just fit with where she's at, and that beauty mark. Just freaking marry me already! Alright, okay, I'm done with the waifu. But looking at the design we were presented with in the trailer, I have to say that the 2 main characters look kinda bland. Especially after comparing them to the other works of Katsura. I mean, sure, like I said before, I loved the transformation sequence and the police persona, but kind of expected these guys to be cooler if I knew he was behind them. Honestly, the other characters we see in the trailer have a lot more going for them, and the main characters don't really talk? Unless... Oh, are we gonna be able to customize the characters and create these 2? Wait, hold on. What? We already have that? Okay, so it's literally been forever since I've recorded this, and it seems that on the Nintendo 3 house at E3, we actually got to see the character creator screen. I mean, I've had my fears about this since Xenoblade X, because that usually means you're the modern silent protagonist type, where because of that, my character just seemed pretty much brain dead or locked in some kind of stupor every time he needed to have a social interaction with someone. And recently in Fire Emblem, it didn't get much better, at least if we're talking about the silent protagonist thing. But that's a small price to pay. I mean, it's a character designer by Katsura Sensei. I want this. Yes. Yes, I want this. Please give me this. Let me just build Aoi. I'll build her with Iria's beauty mark and armor. It'll be the best character ever made. Alright, sorry. I promised I'd stop with the waifu. Okay, on to the next guy. Takahisa Taura. Okay, he doesn't have much of a history yet, but he does have some good titles under his belt. Besides being senior game designer in Nier Automata and a designer in Anarchy Reigns, he also worked as a designer in Wonderful 101 and Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. When I was trying to find out what kind of director Takahisa was, I researched a bit on how he handles game development, and I was pretty content with the results. On a presentation for GDC in 2017, Taura explained what it was like for him to be the designer behind the game mechanics for Nier, where he was the one responsible for the player character and enemy designs of the game. He said some cool things, along the lines of that you have to envision in your head what the perfect gameplay would be, and then constantly compare it to what you see on the screen. That even just the action of pressing a button needs to be fun. Not only that, but every aspect of gameplay needs to give a feeling of either fun or accomplishment. Working with that mindset, he would exhaustively compare the action taken by the player with the animation being played, frame by frame if necessary, making sure that the response the game gave you to your input would always feel right. Be it a dodge, a jump, a heavy attack, a weak attack, whatever you did. He'd make the changes he had to, send it back to the animation team, and then receive it back and go through the whole process again. To which he'd have to check every single flag that the player could input again. Rinse and repeat. Man, I'm getting exhausted just thinking about it. But this gets me so excited to know that this level of polish is gonna be in this game also. Probably even better since they learned from Nier. So I'm really not worried about the gameplay aspect. It might not be perfect, but it's not gonna suck. I hope. And finally, the one guy we all love, Hideki Kamiya. What hasn't been said already about this guy? He started his career at Namco and moved to Capcom in 1994, where he worked as planner for the original Resident Evil and later as director for Resident Evil 2. He wanted the franchise to take this Hollywoodish approach to the story so it could sell better in the West, which a lot of Japanese companies seemed to have tried at that time, just like, Final Fantasy VIII, Metal Gear Solid. Later on in the year 2000, he would direct Devil May Cry, to which I'd say is probably the most influential game to his career, since most of the games he would make in the future would kinda take off of that formula. A little before he left Capcom, he would go on to create a little game called Okami, which I've seen more of my share of people who think it's the greatest game of all time. And frankly, I can totally see where they're coming from. Which makes you wonder, hey, maybe you should give that old Zelda formula a try again, huh? I mean, if Bayo was your DMC, then maybe you could give us a new Okami, eh? Yeah. You're welcome. Anyway, after Okami, he'd leave Capcom to fund the new studio we know as Platinum Games. He would go on to make your Bayonetta's, Metal Gear Rising, and Star Fox Zero, I guess. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching this video. I hope it was a little bit informative at least. Please leave your comments down below about stuff that I didn't mention or any other stuff about the creators that you think were important. Tell me if you're hyped for this game, if you think it's gonna suck, whatever. If you enjoyed the video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to the channel so you can know whenever I put up new videos. With that said, thank you again. This is Ktsu signing out.